I am a candidate for Congress in the Alabama 6th Congressional District because I think that in Washington, D.C., there is not government of the people, by the people, and for the people. I further think that the causes of that condition are also causes of the dysfunctionality of Congress that is much talked about and that, I believe, prevents Congress from properly doing its job. The politicians are not going to meaningfully change things to correct this, and only the citizens can force the politicians to change things. On the matter of government of, by, and for the people, you might say that citizens have the right to vote. They have choices on the ballots. Over 100 million citizens do vote. Those elections determine who is president and who our senators and representatives are. Those elected officials pass law and undertake government action, and all things considered, you might say that is government of, by, and for the people. There are, however, several harsh realities that undermine government of, by, and for the people, in fact. The chief harsh reality is the large costs of presidential and senatorial and House of Representatives campaigns, $100 million, hundreds of millions of dollars in the case of presidents, millions and tens of millions for other offices. A associated harsh reality is that the overwhelming, almost all of the funding for these expensive campaigns comes from a very small donor class. There is continuous fundraising that goes on from election cycle to election cycle, and a ongoing dance between members of the political class and the donor class, in which the donor class becomes very attuned to the political class, and the upshot of this is that the candidates who are determined to be viable and have a chance of winning and get on the ballot as such is determined by the donor class, and by the time the voters get around to voting, they are only presented with this choice of candidates. That is not conducive to government for, by, and of the people. Also, with the close relationships that are developed over many, many years, there is much greater access by the donor class and influence by the donor class, resulting in laws and provisions and laws that frequently are not the best for the American people. A further harsh reality that overlays all of this is that Washington offers much power and riches to those who go to Washington, D.C. Many people go to Washington to obtain power and riches for themselves, and that plays out in ways that also undermine government of, by, and for the people. What about the dysfunctionality? A first dysfunctionality is, as described, the donor class has much greater access and influence over the political class, resulting in laws and provisions of laws that frequently are not the best for the people. A further dysfunction grows out of the fact that while the political class depends on the donor class for its funding, the political class still needs to get votes, and to do that, it is beneficial to the political class to keep the voters on their side riled and angry against the other side, and to turn every issue into a life and death, us against them. And this mindset and landscape obviously makes for dysfunctionality and inability to act properly for the American people. Other dysfunctionalities are such as the matter of complex laws versus simple laws, or more intrusive laws versus narrower laws. For the people, simple laws or narrow laws may be the best thing, but the political class benefits personally if laws are complex or intrusive because it allows for eliciting more contributions, and the lobbyist cohorts also favor complex laws and intrusive laws to increase their lobbying business and get more lobbying fees. Perhaps the worst consequence of the us against them mindset is the stalemate that arises and on very important issues, and the can just gets kicked down the road on those issues to be solved by someone in the future when it is harder to solve them. I hope I have outlined for you the ways in which I think there is not government of, by, and for the people in Washington, and how the same causes for that are causes of the dysfunctionality which prevents Congress from properly fulfilling its job for the American people. The politicians are not going to meaningfully change this, and it is only the citizens acting in concert who can possibly force the politicians to change things. That's why I'm a candidate. Thank you.